I'm Dr. Agnes Maigallo. I'm a counseling psychologist. Another threat to our mental health is unmanaged anger. We have all the rights to get angry. It's human. But how do you manage this anger? How do you do it? Do you explode or do you implode? Explode is when you release it on other people. Implode is when you release it on yourself. How do you manage your anger? If you keep it for so long, what will happen? You're hurting yourself twice. So that is why you find most of the time, for those people who come from where I come from, you will have someone is talking of hyperacidity because you are releasing so much acid into your system with unmanaged anger. We need to learn to manage our anger. Getting annoyed is normal, it's human, it's healthy. But what we do with that anger late, it's what determines. And the other thing is loneliness. No man is an island. We need other people. And if we don't manage this low self-esteem, if we don't manage perfectionism, if we don't manage trauma, we don't manage loneliness, it's like we are slowly taking poison, low-grade poison. In Kiswahili, unameza sumu pole pole. You are taking this poison slowly, slowly, slowly. With the time, it will come to blow up on you. That's why you ask yourself, now how did they die by suicide? It wasn't by choice. This person has lived with this poison for a long time. Stress, maybe trauma, low self-esteem, perfectionist, self-blame. What will people say? All that slowly by slowly is killing you. So, what we need to do is that when you realize these things are hurting you, when you realize they are there in your life, immediately seek help. Kimbia, just run. Don't say, niko na stress leo. Tomorrow I'm stressed. The day after, that stress needs to be managed. You really need to manage it. You sit down and you're reflecting on your life. And anytime you get to a point you find yourself crying over what happened in your life, those wounds are bleeding. I always say, I don't know whether it is any other psychologist or it's only say, when you find yourself thinking of things and cry, it's just like blood. That is, you're just bleeding from within. It's that we can't see the physical bleeding. We can't see the physical blood, but you are bleeding. You need help urgently. Don't sit there and say, everything is okay. It will never be. Go and seek help immediately. And if you don't know where to seek help, please look for me. My number is there. I'll leave it later. The other one is our own thought patterns. The other thing with psychological threats to stress is, how do we cope? People talk of maladaptive coping. That is a very strong term, difficult. That is wrong ways of coping. Like, for example, I have a problem. I know I'm stressed. I try to avoid that stress instead of pulling the bull by its head. My workplace is not working. I'm working, but I feel this is not where I want to be. I have to go there because I need a pay. So I pretend all is well when it is not well. My marriage is not working. My spouse, I'm having issues with my spouse. But because of being afraid of what people will say, what do? I decide to pretend as well and not face this. It will blow up, whether you like it or not. So instead of avoiding, face the problem. And the easiest place to face the problem is in a counseling room. Then, emotional eating. Some people will just decide to eat, to run away from themselves. That's not a solution. You are hurting yourself. You will start telling us you have got overweight, and those other problems associated with too much eating. What you need is to try and ask yourself, how do I cope? How do I manage this? Because that's a serious threat to your mental health. Then, others resort to denial. there is a problem, but you don't want to face it. For example, my son is taking bangi. And my friends have told me my son is taking bangi. God forbid. And I come and see signs. But I don't want to face it. I want to run away from it. Right? I want to run away. Even let us not talk about our sons. Let's talk about ourselves. I started drinking. I've been drinking every day. And I know I have a problem. But I don't want to face that problem. I want to say, it's not me. Sio mimi. It's not, I don't have that problem. Then that is telling you, you have a problem. The only way to solve a problem is accepting you have a problem and try to solve that problem. Then others resort to self-harm. A few years ago, I would not believe in self-harm. But after sitting in a counseling room for quite some time, I've realized people resort to self-harm. One, physical self-harm, where you inflict physical pain on yourself. Two, sexual self-harm. I've seen people have so many multiple sexual partners. And maybe even they don't know. But they're trying to cope with their life challenges. What is the consequences? You may find yourself infected and so on. So, these things, these are maladaptive coping. Haikusaidii, does not help you. You simply need to get a long-term solution to these challenges. The other one is our patterns of thinking. Our patterns of thinking is, some of us never see good in anything, not in themselves, not other people. They will always see the negative side of life. That's a problem. To them, life is always negative. It is a catastrophe. It's a problem. Everything is bad. Utaanguka shule. Awezi. Everything is bad. Everything is bad. Kila mtu ni mbaya. Hakuna kitu mzuri maisha. Nothing good in life. That is a cause of mental health. Or dwelling on the negatives. You failed for class 8 in 1992 with me, and you're still concentrating on nilianguka mathematics. Oga, Lord Soko, wake up. Stop dealing with the past. Stop concentrating on those bad things in your life. Look at the other good side of life. The other one is black and white thinking. There are people whose life is either black or white. It is either good or bad. They don't have hawana katikati. Hawana middle ground, hawana gray line. That itself is a mental health threat. Because you need to see life from different angles. You can't always be on this side. You need middle ground. And this is more, I say slowly, on my very religious brothers. Not the spiritual one, the very religious one might have a problem with that. Now, these are not just bad moods. These are internal threats to ourselves. These are internal threats to our mental health.